story of how I met Fred. Fred completely changed my life. So, our story begins on November 8th, 2008. I was 14 years young, a freshman in high school. Imagine, you are sitting in the Valley High School auditorium and the lights are dim. Tony and Maria see each other from across the ballroom floor on a stage in front of you. It's the first act of West Side Story. The music is curious and quirky and reflecting their emotions of newly kindled love. So now, zoom into the very back of the stage. See that girl standing there in the turquoise dress, smiling like an idiot? That's me. So, Tony and Maria are about to meet each other and have quite the life-changing experience. I, too, am about to meet someone, and they are about to change my life. I'm about to meet Fred. So that evening, when the show was over, I left the auditorium exhausted. My family was there to greet me, congratulate me. My cousins, my aunts, my grandma, my family, they mean the world to me. And they wanted to take me to Perkins and celebrate like we always do. But I was just too tired, and I declined the invitation and went home, went to bed. The next morning, I woke with a very wicked headache. So I was supposed to sing for Mass that morning, but I did not feel up to it. So I went to tell my mom. Of course, she was peeved that I wanted to skip church, but I was sick, and she sent me back to bed nevertheless. So as soon as I had laid down, I thought this headache had subsided enough to be tolerable, but I was wrong. It returned with a vengeance. All of a sudden, I felt nauseated and stood up to go to the bathroom, and just before I opened my bedroom door, I saw my reflection in the mirror that hung on it. Suddenly, my face split into two images. My eyes were crossed, and my face had split into two. So I quickly went to the bathroom and got sick, and my right side completely disappeared from beneath me. I couldn't feel it. It was as if I had not even been born with a right side. And I tried to get up with my left side, and it was incredibly weak also. So I kind of chilled there by the toilet, and somehow my parents found me, and my dad carried me out to the rocking chair, and all of a sudden this roaring noise filled my ears. And my parents called the paramedics, who then came to our house and took me to Methodist Hospital. From there, I was life-flighted to Iowa City hospitals and clinics because they determined my situation very serious. I had discovered that my friend Fred had come to stay. So, at Iowa City hospitals and clinics, the doctors diagnosed me with a cavernous angioma, which is a hematoma in the left side of my brainstem between the pons and medulla oblongata, but I think it's easier to call all of that Fred. So, now freeze frame. The day before, on November 8th, I had been that girl in the pale turquoise dress. Now, I was basically completely paralyzed. not only that, I had just made All-State on my trombone, first chair, as a freshman. And now, not only would I be unable to play in that All-State band, or band in general, for probably the rest of my life, I couldn't breathe without a ventilator down my throat. So I spent 1 month in the hospital with that giant tube that helped me breathe. And for many reasons, they had to put me into a medically induced coma. During the coma, music never left me. I heard Strawberry Swing by Coldplay, and I imagined myself in a warm marsh traveling on top of a covered wagon, literally on top of the canvas part, just kind of, sitting there. I also heard Selfless, Cold, and Composed by Ben Folds 5, and I was in a bustling city shopping for hair products. So I heard many other songs coupled with these very bizarre images, and they seemed strange, but they happened. After the hospital, my 1 month in the hospital, I spent 3.5 months in a rehabilitation clinic. Fred, our friend here, had taken away my ability to express myself the way I once did through everything. I painted, I played trombone, piano, and guitar. I sang, I danced when no one was looking. And I wrote. I was originally right-handed. Now I can't use my right hand. But I also had to learn to do almost all of the mundane human activities again, such as eating and walking. I had to learn to do everything again. Now, before that encounter with Fred, I had been defined by my looks and my musical talent, and I was in everything musically possible. But now I can't define myself with any of those abilities or whatever, and neither can anyone else. So, how do I define myself now? As a stroke victim? I began to compose music because I realized that I still saw music in every dimension of life, and it wouldn't leave. So at first, my compositions came out of my grief, out of my inability to express myself in the previous way that I did. My first song was performed by my voice lesson teacher at her faculty recital, and the second song I wrote was performed by my friend Nicole and I at a talent show just last winter. Both of these times, I still wasn't really aware that composition would be a large part of my life. I was just kind of messing around. Now, I see music in layers. Sometimes I hear the melodies and the words rise from it. Other times I write the words or I find words and they sing to me. So I see music in every dimension of life. And the same theory goes for people. I see them in all their layers also. And that is how I see myself. In many ways, I am still that girl in the pale turquoise dress. But Fred kind of flipped my layers around and made me into someone new. You see, that some people may think that I regret ever meeting Fred, but I think differently. Because that girl, as beautiful and talented as she was not present in her life. She didn't understand her own emotions. She didn't understand that others had emotions. She was selfish. She placed value in things that are unimportant. She knew she was good at what she did, but she didn't know herself. So, this last summer, 5 months after I performed my second composition, our Valley High School orchestra teacher, who is also the music theory teacher, asked me to write a song for the September 11th tribute concert that was to be held at Valley that following fall. I wrote that song in about a week, and when it was performed, it was received with a standing ovation. So with the help of that, with Mr. Peters, he saw something in me that I had not seen in myself. With his help, I discovered who I was and who I am, and also who I am not. I'm not just a stroke victim. I am Tori Gedler, and I am a composer. So listen to me. You don't need Fred to resack your layers to know who you are. Only you can write the lyrics, only you can hear the chords, and only you can feel the rhythm. So that only you, in the silence, can hear the song of your soul. Thank you.